Motion pictures, the new favorite pastime of Americans. Your spouse, your parents, and your children all rush to the movies for a cheap form of escape from your everyday life for a couple of hours. In this newsreel, we will look back at the history and impact of motion pictures in this past decade, and to celebrate what we have accomplished and what we can look forward to. Films have been around since 1877 when Edward Muybridge created the world's first motion picture film. He used 24 cameras to capture a horse running. In the 1880s, actual motion picture cameras were invented. A single camera could record and store motion on a single roll of film. In 1892, Thomas Edison created the first successful patented motion picture device, the 35mm camera. He created the first motion picture company to solely invent devices to use with producing movies. Films were also silent for the majority of the early 1920s. In order to provide dialogue and context to the film, filmmakers inserted printed titles and captions. In movie theaters, local bands, orchestras, and even a single piano player were hired to play along with the film and set the tone of the movie. In 1925, the Bell Telephone Company developed the first successful sound system called the Vitaphone. Warner Brothers produced the first talkie film titled The Jazz Singer, starring Al Johnson. With the growing popularization of sound films, silent actors like Charlie Chaplin were threatened. Studios fled to Hollywood to get away from Thomas Edison's motion picture patent company in New Jersey. In Southern California, the Mediterranean climate and varied terrain made the ideal conditions to film movies. Even if agents from Edison's company made their way out west, filmmakers figured that they would have enough time to flee to Mexico. The famous Hollywood sign, which is now just as recognizable as the Statue of Liberty as a symbol of America, was constructed in 1923. It was installed originally to advertise a new subdivision near the top of Mount Lee called Hollywoodland. The first Academy Awards were held just this past May. It took place at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, located on Hollywood Boulevard. The images and press of the glamorous event helped Americans link fame, glamour, and the lavish lifestyle of film stars with Hollywood. Big Five major studios included Warner Brothers Pictures, Paramount Pictures, Mutual Film Corporation, Metro Pictures Corporation, and Fox Film Corporation. The Little Three included Universal Pictures, United Artists, and Columbia Pictures. The only difference between the Big Five and the Little Three was the fact that each of the Little Three studios lacked one of the three elements required in a vertical integration: owning their own theaters. As these 8 studios grew in size and joined with other studios, their logos changed throughout the 1920s. Independent studios located in the shabby area of Hollywood were called the Poverty Row Studios. The newly formed Disney Studios, which focused on animated films and short cartoons, was considered one of the major Poverty Row studios.
In 1929, MGM released its first sound musical, Broadway Melody. It is advertised as an all-talking, all-singing, all-dancing film, and integrated songs with the plot. This merged the world of Broadway and film together. In 1928, Walt Disney introduced the world to the world's friendliest and funniest mouse named Mickey, who starred in his own movie called Steamboat Willie. Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie is the first animated film for a cartoon character to speak. In 1925, the already famous actor Charlie Chaplin starred in the Gold Rush. The film was declared his finest film ever. Warner Brothers premiered The Jazz Singer in 1927, the first major film with sound. The film had music, songs, and some of the spoken dialogue, which was recorded and then synchronized with the picture so that it could be heard by the audience. Director Frank Borage won Best Drama Director for Seventh Heaven, and Louis Milestone won Best Comedy Director for Two Arabian Kings at the 1929 Oscars. Emil Jennings won Best Actor, and Jeanette Gaynor won Best Actress. The motion picture producers and distributors of America, or MPPDA, are planning to have all actors and filmmakers adopt a code of restrictions that outlines what scenes and topics of films that cannot be shown. Stars have already been required to sign moral clauses in their contracts to agree to good off-screen behavior due to all the scandals we have heard about in the newspapers, like scandalous stories of murder, sex, and drinking. Vaudeville was a type of popular entertainment in the 20th century with a mix of specialty acts such as burlesque, comedy, song, dance, and many more. Talking pictures proved to be disastrous for vaudeville because they simply could not compete. Films also hurt careers of many orchestra musicians that played for these vaudeville acts. The foreign actors of this era were also affected because studios were only choosing American-sounding actors to have voice roles. Marketers targeted the poor as their audience, which changed the societal expectation that only the rich could afford entertainment. Motion pictures were also an opportunity for propaganda to be distributed to every class of people. For example, studios made the defeat of Germany in World War I seem simply heroic and just in the 1920s, even though there was unimaginable bloodshed and personal intentions. Motion pictures in general changed our ideas and values, and specifically the display of strong working women in films helped create a world where a woman in the workplace was more acceptable. For example, there was a time when women who cut their hair were looked down upon, but films in the 1920s depicted women with short hair, which made them more respectable. Another controversial issue was race relations. African Americans in earlier films were shown in an unflattering light, but later films helped us towards civil rights. For example, the 1929 film Hallelujah was the first sound feature film to use an African American cast and was at the time seen as a sign of Hollywood's racial tolerance.
Motion pictures greatly affected Americans in the 1920s and are continuing to affect Americans today. We have seen America fall in love with actors and actresses, even the scandalous ones. The actresses have pushed the limits on how we view a woman's role in American society. We have experienced the rise of Hollywood and the glamour that accompanies this famous town north of sunny Los Angeles. With the advancements of technology that have made way for more exciting and advanced motion pictures, we have seen the rise of the big studios like Warner Brothers and Fox Pictures producing more much-loved movies for all of America. As the decade comes to an end, we haven't seen any decline of motion pictures. In fact, motion pictures are here to stay.